Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a world where people share everything on social media, in conversations, and sometimes even with those who have no right to know our deepest thoughts. But today, I want to tell you something critical. Not everything is meant to be shared. There are things, precious things, that when revealed to the wrong people can bring heartache, betrayal, and even destruction. Many of you have trusted someone with your secrets, only to find those very words turned against you. Some of you have shared your struggles, only to be met with judgment instead of understanding. And I ask you today, could it be that wisdom is not in speaking more, but in knowing when to remain silent? My dear sisters, there are things you must never share with just anyone. These things are sacred, given to you by God, not to be guarded, not exposed. And if you listen carefully, you will understand why keeping these 7 things private will bring you more peace, more security, and more strength than you ever imagined. 1. Your deepest fears and weaknesses. When you share your weaknesses with the wrong people, they will use them against you. Not everyone who listens cares, and not everyone who cares is trustworthy. There is wisdom in revealing your struggles only to those who will help, not harm. 0.2. The secrets of your relationship. What happens in your home should not be open for public discussion. A relationship thrives in privacy and dies in gossip. Protect the sacred bond you share with your partner. 3. Your financial status. Whether in abundance or in lack, your financial situation is not for the world to know. Sharing too much invites envy, exploitation, or unnecessary judgment. 4. Your family's private issues. Your family is your foundation. Broadcasting family problems brings division instead of unity. Some battles are meant to be fought within the walls of your home. 5. Your future plans and dreams. Not everyone will celebrate your vision. Some will discourage you, while others may try to take what is yours. Speak of your plans only when they are strong enough to stand on their own. 0.6. Your acts of kindness. Good deeds lose their purity when they are done for public recognition. What is done in humility brings greater reward than what is done for praise. 0.7. Your past mistakes and sins. If God has forgiven you, why open doors for others to judge you? Learn from the past, but don't let it become a chain that others use to bind you. Today, I urge you to embrace the power of silence and the wisdom of discretion. Not everything must be told. Not everyone must know. There is strength in knowing what to share, and there is even greater power in knowing what to keep to yourself. And if you walk in this wisdom, you will find a life of peace, security, and divine protection. Choose today to guard your words, and in doing so you will guard your heart, your dignity, and your destiny. May you walk in strength, may you walk in wisdom, and may you walk in the fullness of God's protection. The power of mystery is a gift, often overlooked in a world that constantly demands exposure, validation, and transparency. People are encouraged to share everything, what they think, how they feel, what they are going through, without considering the impact of their words. But there is a sacredness in what is hidden, a strength in what remains unspoken. Mystery is not about deception, it is about protection. It is about understanding that not everyone deserves access to the deepest parts of your heart and mind. What is kept private is often what remains powerful. The moment something sacred is exposed to the wrong person, it can lose its value, its strength, and sometimes even its purpose. Consider a treasure hidden deep within the earth. Its worth is not diminished because no one sees it. In fact, its rarity and mystery make it even more valuable. A woman who understands the power of mystery knows that not everything about her life should be displayed for the world to see. She understands that the more she reveals, the more she opens herself to judgment, manipulation, and misunderstanding. She does not conceal out of fear, but out of wisdom. She knows that the world does not always have her best interests at heart. Words are powerful, but they can also be dangerous when placed in the wrong hands. A secret told to the wrong person is no longer a secret. It becomes a weapon. What is sacred can be distorted, used against you, and turned into something it was never meant to be. This is why wisdom calls for discretion. A woman must know when to speak and when to remain silent. She must recognize that some things are meant to be shared only in safe spaces, with those who have proven themselves worthy of such trust. Not everyone who listens cares, and not everyone who cares has pure intentions. Social media, conversations, and even casual encounters tempt people to speak before thinking, to reveal before considering the consequences. But those who embrace the power of mystery do not rush to expose their emotions, their struggles, or their plans. They understand that the unknown carries a certain strength. When people cannot predict your every move, they cannot control or manipulate you. When they do not know your weaknesses, they cannot exploit them. When they do not have access to your inner thoughts, they cannot twist them into something they were never meant to be. Mystery demands discipline. It requires resisting the urge to seek validation through words and instead finding confidence in silence. It is not about isolation, but about discernment, choosing carefully who gets to know the depths of your heart and who does not. A woman who walks in the power of mystery commands respect, not because she demands it, but because her silence speaks louder than unnecessary words. She moves with wisdom, knowing that what remains hidden is often what remains protected. The strength of silence is one of the most underestimated virtues in today's world, where people feel the need to voice every thought, share every detail, and expose every feeling. There is an illusion that speaking more equates to being heard, that sharing more means being understood, and that revealing everything leads to deeper connection. But the truth is, silence holds a power that words often fail to carry. A woman who understands the strength of silence knows that not every emotion needs to be spoken, not every struggle needs to be shared, and not every thought deserves an audience. Silence is not weakness. It is not avoidance. It is wisdom. There is a time to speak, and there is a time to hold back. Knowing the difference is what separates those who are easily swayed by the world from those who walk in discernment. Silence allows a person to observe, to listen, and to gain understanding before responding. A woman who remains silent in the face of provocation is not powerless. She is in control. She does not allow others to manipulate her into saying things she will later regret. She does not allow anger, frustration, or external pressure to dictate her words. Instead, she chooses her words with intention, ensuring that when she does speak, her voice carries weight. In relationships, silence is often mistaken for distance, but in reality, it can be a source of strength. Not every disagreement needs to be met with an argument. Not every misunderstanding needs immediate correction. Sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. Silence has the ability to disarm those who seek to provoke, confuse those who seek to manipulate, and frustrate those who thrive on conflict. When a woman learns to harness the power of silence, she finds herself no longer bound by the opinions, expectations, or judgments of others. She does not feel the need to explain herself to everyone, nor does she seek validation through constant expression. Silence also allows space for reflection. When life becomes overwhelming, when emotions run high, or when uncertainty clouds judgment, it is silence that provides clarity. It is in moments of stillness that wisdom speaks the loudest. A woman who cultivates silence learns to hear her own thoughts more clearly, to discern the voice of God more profoundly, and to recognize the true intentions of those around her. The less she speaks, the more she hears. The less she reacts, the more she understands. In a society that values noise, where people feel compelled to share every aspect of their lives, the woman who walks in silence stands apart. She is not easily swayed, not easily manipulated, and not easily broken. Her strength is found not in how loudly she speaks, but in how wisely she chooses when to remain silent. And in that silence, she carries a power that few can match. Guarding the heart is one of the most vital disciplines a woman can practice. The heart is the wellspring of life, the place where emotions, desires, and dreams are nurtured. But it is also the place where wounds, disappointments, and betrayals take root. What a woman allows into her heart shapes her thoughts, her actions, and ultimately her destiny. If she is careless with her heart, allowing the wrong people access, sharing too much with those who do not value her, or giving her emotions away too easily, she opens herself to unnecessary pain and regret. A guarded heart does not mean a closed heart. It does not mean shutting people out or living in fear of relationships. Rather, it is about protecting what is sacred. It is about recognizing that not everyone deserves a place in the deepest parts of her life. Many women have given away their hearts too quickly, believing that love, friendship, or trust should be extended without discernment. But love without wisdom leads to heartbreak. Trust without caution leads to betrayal. A guarded heart is a wise heart, one that loves fully but wisely, trusts deeply but carefully, and gives generously but selectively. There are people who will take advantage of an open heart not because they love or care, but because they see an opportunity for control, manipulation, or selfish gain. A woman who does not guard her heart may find herself constantly drained, giving to people who only take, believing promises that were never meant to be kept, and holding on to relationships that were never meant to last. The pain of misplaced trust is not just emotional. It affects every area of life. When the heart is wounded, it clouds judgment. It makes wise decisions difficult and allows emotions to take control instead of reason. Guarding the heart also means being mindful of what enters it. The conversations she engages in, the people she surrounds herself with, and the words she listens to all have the power to either strengthen or weaken her heart. Toxic words, negative influences, and relationships filled with drama or dishonesty can slowly corrupt even the strongest heart. It is not just about avoiding bad company, but also about choosing to be surrounded by those who uplift, encourage, and inspire. Another aspect of guarding the heart is understanding the importance of time. A woman who truly values herself does not rush into deep relationships, whether romantic, professional, or personal, without first testing the foundation. Time reveals intentions. Time exposes character. Those who are truly meant to be in her life will respect her pace, her boundaries, and her need for discernment. She does not have to explain or justify why she moves with caution, because she understands that a heart that is protected remains whole, while a heart that is given away too freely often comes back broken. Guarding the heart is not about being distant or unapproachable. It is about being wise. It is about knowing that the heart is a treasure, and treasures are not thrown carelessly to those who do not understand their value. The dangers of oversharing are more serious than many people realize. In a world that encourages openness and transparency, It is easy to believe that sharing every detail of one's life is a sign of honesty, confidence, or even strength. But the truth is, not everyone deserves access to your thoughts, emotions, struggles, or past. Oversharing can leave a person vulnerable, exposed to criticism, manipulation, and even betrayal. The more you reveal, the more you give others the power to influence your life, sometimes in ways you never intended. A woman who shares too much too soon often finds herself regretting it later. Whether it is revealing personal struggles to someone who only pretends to care, discussing private relationship issues with those who have no business knowing, or exposing weaknesses to people who may later use them against her, oversharing creates unnecessary risks. There is wisdom in knowing what to say, when to say it, and, most importantly, who to say it to. Many have learned the hard way that what is spoken in confidence can quickly become public knowledge. A trusted friend today may be a distant acquaintance tomorrow, and words that were meant to be private can suddenly become ammunition in the wrong hands. Social media has only amplified the dangers of oversharing. People post about their relationships, financial struggles, personal victories, and even deep emotional wounds without fully understanding the consequences. What is shared online never truly disappears, and what seems like an innocent post can later become a source of regret. Not everyone who watches, likes, or comments has good intentions. Some are simply collecting information, waiting for a moment of weakness to use what they know for their own gain. The same principle applies in everyday conversations. Just because someone listens does not mean they are trustworthy. Some people listen out of curiosity, not concern. Others may seem supportive, but secretly take pleasure in your struggles. Oversharing can also damage personal and professional relationships. Employers, colleagues, and even acquaintances form opinions based on what they hear, and too much personal information can change how people perceive you. A woman who constantly discusses her struggles, frustrations, or personal matters may unknowingly create an image of instability or emotional dependence. This does not mean she should hide her challenges, but rather that she should be selective in whom she confides in. Not every problem needs to be discussed publicly, and not every thought needs to be spoken aloud. And another danger of oversharing is that it often weakens a person's sense of mystery and self-respect. There is power in restraint. A woman who holds back certain details about her life commands more respect than one who lays everything bare for the world to see. People are naturally drawn to those who maintain an air of mystery, those who do not feel the need to explain themselves constantly or seek validation through excessive openness. Resisting the urge to share everything does not mean living in secrecy. It means valuing your own privacy enough to protect it from those who do not deserve access. The value of discretion is one of the most powerful and overlooked qualities a woman can possess. In a world that glorifies openness, where people are encouraged to share every thought, emotion, and experience, discretion is often seen as unnecessary or even outdated. But true wisdom teaches that not everything needs to be spoken, and not every detail of life should be exposed. A woman who practices discretion understands that there is a time to speak and a time to remain silent. She knows that words once spoken cannot be taken back, and that the things she chooses to keep private can often be more powerful than the things she reveals. Discretion is not about deception or secrecy. It is about wisdom. It is the ability to control one's words and actions, to recognize the weight of personal information, and to understand that privacy is a form of strength. Many people have suffered unnecessary heartache, betrayal, or humiliation simply because they trusted the wrong person with the wrong information. A woman who values discretion does not feel the need to share every detail of her personal life, nor does she seek validation through excessive openness. Instead, she guards her words carefully, knowing that once something is spoken, it is no longer within her control. In relationships, discretion is key to maintaining respect and trust. A woman who constantly discusses her private matters, whether it be her romantic life, family issues, or personal struggles, risks weakening the foundation of those relationships. Not every problem needs to be shared with the outside world, and not every disagreement needs to be discussed with friends or strangers. Relationships, whether personal or professional, thrive on trust, and trust is built on the ability to keep certain things sacred. A woman who speaks too freely about her partner's flaws, her family struggles, or her own insecurities may later find that those words have created wounds that cannot easily be healed. Discretion is also crucial in professional settings. A woman who understands the value of restraint earns the respect of those around her. She does not engage in gossip. She does not speak negatively about colleagues, and she does not disclose sensitive information that could later be used against her. Instead, she carries herself with dignity, knowing that what she does not say is just as important as what she does. Employers, business partners, and co-workers take notice of those who exercise wisdom in their speech, and opportunities often come to those who can be trusted to handle information with care. Beyond relationships and work, discretion is also a form of self-respect. A woman who does not feel the need to constantly explain herself, prove herself, or seek approval from others commands a quiet authority. She does not crave attention or validation because she knows her worth is not dependent on public opinion. She moves through life with a quiet confidence, understanding that true power is found not in what is revealed, but in what is wisely kept to oneself. Wisdom in words is a rare and powerful trait that separates those who speak with purpose from those who simply speak to be heard. In a world where people feel the need to express every thought, share every detail, and give opinions on matters that do not concern them, the ability to choose words wisely is a sign of strength, intelligence, and maturity. A woman who understands the value of her words does not waste them. She speaks with intention, knowing that what she says can either build or destroy, heal or wound, bring clarity or... Words are not just sounds. They are seeds planted in the minds and hearts of those who hear them. A careless word spoken in anger can break a relationship that took years to build. A thoughtless comment can plant doubt where there was once confidence. A secret shared in the wrong company can become a source of betrayal and regret. A woman who walks in wisdom understands that once words leave her mouth, she no longer has control over how they are received, interpreted. She does not speak to impress, but to express truth with discernment. Some people believe that honesty means saying everything that comes to mind, without filter or consideration. But wisdom teaches that truth, when spoken without love and discretion, can be just as damaging as a lie. There is a difference between being transparent and being reckless with words. A wise woman knows when to speak and when to stay silent. She understands that not every thought deserves to be voiced. Not every problem needs to be shared, and not every listener is trustworthy. One of the greatest marks of wisdom is the ability to listen more than one speaks. Many conflicts arise not because people lack intelligence, but because they lack restraint in their speech. A woman who is quick to listen and slow to speak avoids unnecessary misunderstandings, protects herself from manipulation, and ensures that her words carry weight when she finally chooses to speak. She does not engage in gossip because she knows that words have power, and whatever she says about others will eventually reflect back on her character. She does not allow emotions to control her speech, because she knows that words spoken in haste are often regretted later, even in moments of confrontation. A woman who possesses wisdom in words does not allow herself to be drawn into arguments that serve no purpose. She knows that silence can be more powerful than 1,000 words spoken in anger. She does not defend herself to those who are committed to misunderstanding her, nor does she waste energy explaining herself to those who have already made up their minds. Instead, she speaks when it matters, with words that bring life, wisdom, and truth. In a world filled with noise, a woman who masters the wisdom of words stands apart. She is respected not because she speaks the most, but because when she does speak, her words carry meaning, depth, and authority. In a world that constantly pushes for openness, exposure, and validation through words, a wise woman understands the power of restraint, mystery, and discretion. She knows that not everything should be shared. Not every listener is trustworthy, and not every thought deserves to be spoken. She guards her heart, chooses her words carefully, and understands that silence often carries more strength than speech. By exercising wisdom in what she reveals and to whom, she protects herself from unnecessary pain, betrayal, and manipulation. A woman who values discretion is not weak. She is powerful. She is not afraid to speak, but she understands the weight of her words. She does not seek validation from the world because she knows her worth does not come from how much she shares, but from the wisdom she carries. She builds relationships on trust, keeps her heart protected, and commands respect without demanding it. So let this be a call to every woman listening. Do not let the world pressure you into exposing what should be kept sacred. Do not feel the need to explain yourself to those who do not value you. Walk in wisdom. Guard your heart. Protect your words. And remember, true strength is not in how much you share, but in how wisely you choose to remain silent.